Let's take a look at how we can create a histogram from summarized data. So suppose I have some values for data, 0, 1, up through 5 are the possible values that we've seen, and the frequency for each value is given in the other side of the table. So the data value of 0 appeared once in the data, 1 also appeared once, 2 appeared 3 times, 3 appeared 5 times, and so on. 4 appeared 8 times, and 5 appeared 7 times. And so I'd like to create a histogram from this data, from the summarized form of this data. So we can enter the data into two separate lists by going to Stat and choosing Edit. And I've already entered the data there. List 1 has the values of the data, the values of the variable, and List 2 has the frequencies. To create a graph, I'm going to go to Stat Plot to set up and define the stat plot by choosing second and then the y equals key. I'm going to choose plot 1, and I want to define it to be a histogram, which is the third option in the top row. So I'm going to hit enter to select that. And the frequency, sometimes the frequency value here, you'll see a 1 there. I'd like to change that to be list 2. So usually the default, if you haven't done this before, the default would be a 1. I want to change that so it says list 2, which is above the 2 key, the yellow command. So I'm going to hit second and then press 2 to have that become list 2, because that's where we put the frequencies for each value of data. Now I'll go back up here and let me turn on the stat plot, and then we can create a graph using the zoom stat option. So if I go to the zoom menu and choose option 9, we can select zoom stat, which will set up the window so it shows all the data values. And we notice something a little bit strange, right? Our data values, they go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's not really any gaps in the data values, but we see a gap in our histogram. To see why that is, if we go to Window, we can set up, more particularly, we can make like specific choices. So the data, it's starting at 0, since that's our smallest data value. And then the calculator, for some reason, decided that each bar of the histogram should be 0.83 units wide, which for our data would maybe make more sense for that to be 1 instead of 0.83. So that's why there was the gap, because the bars of the histogram were less than 1. So I can change the scale to determine whatever class width I'd like within some boundaries, but pretty much I can make whatever choice I'd like. And then because we have these sort of whole number data values, let me choose negative 0.5 as the starting value. Because then if I go to the graph, we'll see that that places 0 and similarly 1 and 2 and 3 right at the center of their respective bars. And so we maybe get a slightly better graph by making those choices. Let me point to one more thing, that the trace key allows us to look at each bar. It shows us the boundary values for each bar of the histogram, and also the number of data values associated with each bar. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.